Once again, lunchtime arrives. And not at all too soon. Oh, man. I really do like this music. I need to say more positive things while playing this game. This music is really nice. I really genuinely like this music. I've been so distracted lately that the whole morning class period feels like a blur. It's not even like I'm intent on not paying attention, it's just that before I notice it, I start zoning out. Wondering to myself if anyone is watching me to see how I react, asking myself whether the reason the teachers aren't calling on me to read and answer questions is because they pity me, thinking that people are just waiting for me to stumble and prove that I do need help, catching up after all. Those thoughts keep creeping up on me every now and then. It's honestly frustrating. I just want to go on with my life and not think about it. But when I least expect it, if I lay my guard down for even a second, they come back right away. Even when I think I'm doing good. Rutherford-kun, are you even paying attention? The first line out of her mouth. Leave it alone. Sorry, I zoned out. Yeah, I figured. At least you didn't lie and say you were listening. Yeah, I just have a lot on my mind lately. Yeah, I don't blame you. A lot has happened over the past few weeks. Jeez, when you put it like that, it makes me feel like I was insensitive for asking. You were! Moving on. Nah, you're perfectly fine. Just because I was distracted doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Oh, really? Yeah, I was just thinking over some stuff, but nothing really all that important. Damn it. He needs therapy. He needs therapy. Or, well, not super urgent, at least. Oh, I did want to ask a question. I just wasn't sure how to go about it. What question is that? Well, the Kanto regionals are over. You both placed pretty well, all things considered. I wouldn't be surprised if this latest result got Keisuke a seated spot in the next competition, for instance. But are you guys adjusting your training any? Damn it. Everyone went to shit. Everyone goes nuts immediately. You want to talk about that? Yeah, we don't have to talk about tennis. We can... Guys. June cuts into the conversation, interrupting Keisuke on the case. You know, interrupting Keisuke and Saya's attempts at deflection right away. Once all eyes are on him, he clears his throat, putting on a smile on his face before continuing. I know you think you're being helpful, but please stop doing that. Please let Rutherford-san decide what he can and can't handle. It's barely even been a day since the last time he's asked. It's kind of hard to watch otherwise. Fucking absolutely right. I don't even need to repeat it. Nail on the fucking head. Every word is absolutely true. Moving on. Exclamation point. Did June just interrupt them to back me up? God, I could kiss you right now, June. Right. My bad. I guess you really did tell us before and everything. It's just hard. We don't want to be the insensitive people that drone on and on about something you can't ever do again anymore. It's indelicate. I'd say the only indelicate part so far was the about something you can't do again anymore. Feels like that part wasn't necessary. Crab, I mean, I'm sorry. Rutherford-san, you too. Don't tease people when they're trying their best to do what's asked. Teased? Sorry. When I saw my chance to make you squirm a little, I couldn't resist. Rutherford-san, that's cruel. Guess it's my turn now to say my bad. You're evil. Yes, but, for future reference, I said Dr. Evil or Mr. Mayhem. So you're not just evil, you're delusional. What's the point of being a villain if you don't have a cool name and a layer? Man, I gotta get myself one of those. Weren't you asking about tennis? Oh, right. Thanks for the reminder. So close. Wow, really? Either way, spill! Come on, it'll keep me in suspense. I really want to know. Guys just went through your second largest competition. The next step is already nationals, and I'm sure you were able to identify things you needed to work on during your matches. We always do. Well, I guess. So? Truth be told, when playing against Yuya-kun and Tanabe-san, I did manage to realize a few things I needed to work on. While my ball control is quite good, and I don't lose to Tanabe-san in terms of shot variety, he had way more complicated patterns of attack. I had a hard time even setting up my offense since he quickly dismantled it. Not surprised. I did say before you guys' styles are very similar. Tanabe isn't all that physically gifted. Granted, he's probably more so than you are. Not that is particularly hard in high-level sports. Thanks, man. Tanabe does have more complicated attack patterns, but he also tends to be more decisive. You try to play the long con, which is good, which can be good, but it can also be to your own detriment. I've seen you ignore opportunities to score immediately so you can postpone the points. While it can work to throw your opponent off, it can also come back to bite you in the ass. But that's to advance my own play style. If I want to throw my opponents off the rhythm, I need to let them get into a rhythm first. Isn't that a given? Of course. Like I said, it's not always a bad idea. But you need to learn to balance those two things better. Not every opponent is going to be as susceptible to that kind of strategy, so it'd be good for you to learn to be more decisive. Besides, Tanabe also has an advantage in that his fundamentals are almost all spect? I don't know what that means. Spect higher than yours. The only thing I'd say you might be legitimately better than him at is your footwork. You're pretty spry on your feet. You should capitalize more on that. Capitalize on it? But how? Well, your shots have a lot of variety, but they lack weight. If you figured out how to add more power behind them without sacrificing too much fine control, that'd be one way to force your opponents to ease up, force more errors. You're fast on your feet, and you also react reasonably fast. If you really want to stick to your plans of forsaking opportunities to score in favor of conning your opponent, then you should learn to play a more defensive style, like Saya does, though you're nowhere near having her monster stamina. Huh. Funny that you say that. Oh? Keisuke's whole face scrunches up to my mention of his shots lacking weight. Did I perhaps strike a nerve? Is everything okay? It's fine. It's just something else I realized when I was playing against Yuya-kun. Every time I hit a shot that would otherwise be a winner, he somehow managed to make his way back to the ball. Not only that, I wasn't able to push him nearly as much during my serve game as I would have liked. Yuya-kun is a special case. He's tenacity taken to the extreme. If you have any openings whatsoever, he'll keep grinding the point out until he finds them. A stronger serve might be able to push him back just far enough to give you the opening you need to score, but it's kind of pointless if you have to sacrifice your control to do it. Well, it's not like I can't hit the ball harder, but you're right. I'd have to sacrifice my control to do it, so I never bothered trying. Try to incorporate stronger shots into your repertoire. Practice increasing the strength of your ground strokes little by little until you can level them up a bit. Even if you have to lose some control to do it, just make sure it's not a considerable amount. 3 to 6% loss of control would probably be fine. Keisuke is already plenty accurate enough. That excess accuracy is useless, however, if it can't be used to benefit to score the point. Against lower level opponents, he would probably be fine, but players at higher levels tend to be scrappier than most. They're used to everything high level. just having accurate shots isn't enough to cut it if they're so used to people that hit hard that your shots end up being sluggish by comparison. Oh, and this is something else that I noticed last time we played, but it wouldn't hurt you to make your shots more compact. Compact? It's mostly when you're using your backhand, but your swing tends to be far too wide. I get a wider swing is a good way to impact more force into the shot, which can be used as a decent strategy without affecting your contact point to the ball, but too wide a swing will make you lose some time. But if you're constantly using bigger swings, there's going to be a time lag. You have to get into position sooner since your swing takes longer, which can by itself affect the quality of your contact. A compact swing is better for a more consistent playstyle, especially if you're being defensive. It's true, I tend to keep my swings pretty compact myself. Of course you do, you're a defensive baseliner. Consistency and tenacity are your strong suits. Well, sure, you could probably add way more power into your strokes if you made your swings wider. There's really no point when you can already outgrind anyone else. The important thing here is balance. You don't want your swing so compact that you lack strength, but you don't want your swing so wide that you can't keep it consistent. Besides, if you perfect a more compact swing, you can take the time that you gained to hit balls on the rise to further force your opponent onto the defensive. Or to simples, give yourself extra time to think. Keikun is the type to be thinking 5 moves ahead at all times. He needs as much breathing room as he can get. When you're in the middle of a rally, gasping for air and starving yourself of oxygen, that gets really difficult. I don't know why that last part was talking about him in third person, but that's weird. I see. So any advantage I can get can work in my favor. Even if it's only a few milliseconds every shot, it'll eventually add up to a huge shift. Yeah, now you're getting it. Of course, that's not to say that you should only ever hit compact. A wider swing can be good when you're already ahead and want to press your lead, or when you have want to add some extra oomph to put away a winner shot. But your style is very different from mine, and I could tell when I played against you that you kept trying to mimic my technique. You noticed that? Of course I did, I'm not blind. Cyan and Keisuke both stare at me like they just saw a ghost or something, like they can't quite believe what they're hearing. I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel a little creeped out by it. Why are you guys staring at me all quiet like that? It's kind of creepy. Hey, Rutherford, since when did you pay that much attention to Keisuke? Huh? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What's that supposed to mean? You always seem quite uninterested in other players during practice. You'd zone out into your own routine and it was like the whole world disappeared. So I guess we're all surprised that you paid that much attention to me to notice all of that. The hell is that supposed to mean? You're making me sound like some kind of self-absorbed douchebag. Of course not, that's not true. At least the douchebag part. At least not the douchebag part. Yeah. What the hell? I am not self-absorbed. And no offense, but I asked you tons of times to help me out with giving advice to the other players, and you always dismissed me by saying that it wasn't your job and that you didn't care. Because it wasn't my job. You went so far as to say you didn't care? Maybe you were a little bit of a douchebag. I dare you to repeat that. Come on. You can't basically tell someone don't know, don't care, and expect not to be called an ass. We have a coach, one that Saya spent almost 3 years constantly defending and saying was competent every time I complained about him. It's his job to help players out, thank you very much. Still, there's such a thing as tactful delivery, man. Bite me! Okay, you're not self-absorbed or a douchebag. Happy now? No! Well, then I don't know what else to tell ya. You're just agreeing with me to appease me. How is that supposed to make me be happy? I can tell that you're lying. It's all in your eyes. They tell lies. Lies, I tell you. I paid attention to everyone around me, not just Keisuke. Of course, I kept a closer eye on the more noteworthy players of the club, but I know stuff. I know a lot about you too, Saya-chan. You too? What did I just say? Stop acting so surprised. I was in that club room every single day. Of course I noticed things. It'd be weird if I hadn't. Okay, this is a bit of a retcon because you were not in the club room every single day. You said you skipped a lot, and you were also in that crisis a lot, so that was weird. I'm insulted. Yeah, I did. For example, Saya-chan takes a while to get her engine running during matches. We heard him say that before. Not to mention the fact that she tends to size her opponents up during the first 4 or 5 games, so it's not uncommon for her to lose way more games in the first set than the rest. Or how she has a habit of dropping her shoulder whenever she's about to hit a cross-court shot, which a more analytical opponent could probably take advantage of to anticipate her shots. Or the way that she delays her forehand swing for a second or so when she's about to hit a shallower shot. All of those are tells that could be used against her and are things that she should probably avoid. Oh, that's the first I've ever heard of it. Other than that, your fundamentals are quite good. They're way above junior level at the very least. Your stamina's out of this world, but we knew that already. Mostly because your ability to conserve your air is ridiculous. You don't run out of breath as often, and each breath seems to last you twice as long as it does most people. Your power and control are a step above most junior players, if not even most players in the futures and challenger levels. Really, you're kind of a wild beast when it comes to all that stuff. I've literally never heard you say all that much about my playstyle. I thought you didn't pay attention to me whatsoever. I have no reason to study you quite as in-depth as I do other male players like Kei-kun, that much is true. But we've been in the same club since we were kids. Of course I'd be bound to notice a thing or two about you. But then again, I only ever see you playing against other girls, so I wouldn't be able to extrapolate or figure out how you'd do in comparison with guys, but that'd be easy enough to test if you played against Kei-kun. If you know that much about us, then why did you never say so? Because I'm not a coach! It's not my job to offer guidance. If I were to do so, I'd be doing the guy's job for him. And, well, until I started listing off all the things I know about you two, I hadn't realized that I knew so much. But to have you zero in on exactly what it is I need to work on that easy? I mean, I didn't think there was anything I needed to fix. But after you mentioned that about me, I had a moment where I was like, oh, wait, this is what's happening during the last competition. Or this was what was happening during the last competition. It was? Yeah, I had an opponent who kept anticipating a lot of my shots, and I couldn't figure out why. All I could tell was that I had this icky feeling like I was being watched extra hard or something. Well, you're not the most subtle person in the world. The thing is, for most of your opponents, the difference in skill had been so great that even if they noticed your tells, they wouldn't be in a position to do anything about it. It'd be like comparing me to Aki. He knows more about my playstyle than anyone else, but if you asked him to deploy countermeasures against me in a match, there wouldn't be much he could do about it. All the knowledge in the world would do you no good if you're not in a position to use it. Interesting. I suppose that is a good point. In that case, maybe we could talk about something else, yeah? Something that all of us can be a part of? Just an idea. On one hand, absolutely true. This was a very, 3-person dynamic in a 5-person conversation, and I've said before that I hate it when that kind of thing happens. So, I totally agree. On the second hand, as soon as Rutherford got in the accident and he couldn't play anymore, I don't know if I said it out loud, but I was thinking, does this music sound different as well? What? Why does all the music sound different lately? I don't know. But anyway, I was literally thinking either to myself or I might have said it out loud. Maybe someone said it in the comments. Like, if he still wants to be involved in tennis, he's said multiple times things like analytically, he could be involved in tennis as a coach or as a commentator or he could still be involved in tennis. Just because he ain't a player anymore, he could still do something like this. But the problem is that you have to take that with a little bit of we saw how he was when he was there, when he gave his rah goodbye speech. Maybe it was just because it was that close and that soon, and he has a lot of things he needs therapy through and needs to work out. But is there a point in the future where he could go back and be around tennis without having that hard a reaction? I don't know. Is it possible that he in the future could go back as a coach or as a helper, or I don't fucking know. He seems to have the makings of it. But anyway, as far as this conversation is concerned, Shuichi's got a fucking point. Can we move on? But you planted the seed right there. Rutherford, tennis coach, possibly at the university that June goes to play piano at in Germany. That would be cool. Oh, I completely forgot you were here, Shuichi. See, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. You could just say, "Oh, sorry." You don't have to say you completely forgot someone was there in the room. Yeah, I noticed. My spirit was about to leave, ready to leave my body. That's dramatic as fuck. You don't have to say it like that. I barely understood anything that was being said in the last few minutes. Sorry, we got surprised by Rutherford, that's all. What happens when you don't pay attention or anything, or ask questions of your classmates. You know, you just get offended and then disregard them. Sorry, I got too engrossed in the conversation myself. You're fine, just for the love of all that's sacred, can we talk about something else? I don't want to spend the entirety of lunch break listening to you three droning on and on while I stay silent. Yeah, he's got to listen to his own voice, huh? I'm just joking. Besides, you guys aren't even eating. At the mere mention of lunch, Saya, Keisuke, and I look around, spotting the fact that our lunchboxes are all still neatly wrapped and untouched in front of us, while June and Shuichi's are empty and pushed to the side. No way! You guys wouldn't stop, so we just ate. But you were the one who told them to go along with it when I brought up the subject of tennis. Yeah, and little did I know it would turn into my own death sentence. Sorry. It's fine. Just try to remember that we're here. It's not really fun to be left out of a conversation. You said one thing. I'm joking. You're still right. Saya, Keisuke, and I quickly unpacking our lunches, beginning to eat as Shuichi and June steer the conversation to more mundane, easily discussed topics. Oh. The three of us seem to share an unspoken agreement to mostly keep our silence unless we have something relevant, I don't know, have I unconsciously added an ear, relevant to add to the conversation, making sure not to overshadow the other two as we had before. By the time our lunch break finally came to an end, we managed to slip back into a comfortable mood despite our previous setback, with our animated discussion into plans for a next potential group outing being interrupted by the sound of the bell. Damn it, we didn't manage to get anything set in stone. Setting things in stone is a lot harder than you think. To begin with, stone isn't a liquid, so it can't be set. Were you always this much of a dweeb? It's fine, Shuichi-san. We can talk about it later. Not to mention the fact that phones exist. I know they do, but it's much easier to make plans in person. There's no rush. We got through our competition. Our next midterms aren't until October. We have time. I still don't understand how there could be more than one midterm. It's mid. It's middle. For God's sake. I mean, I do have a competition soon-ish, but that only lasts a day. And I still have practice at home and at school almost every day, so it's fine. In fact, I'm planning on getting some more practice in after class today. Speaking of, you seem a lot more confident about it nowadays. I seem to recall a certain someone freaking out about the mere mention of his competition a few short months ago. Getting back into the groove of it helped a lot with my nerves. It's a shame. I wouldn't mind comforting you backstage again like I did that time.
Oh, no way. Forget that ever happened.
I don't know if I can. Besides, are you sure your hands won't feel cold if I'm not there?
Stop it.
I have to be quiet again because I think Breeze went back to sleep. What on earth happened backstage that day? I feel like we only ever got the abridged version. Based on Kobayashi's reaction, I can more or less imagine it. Aw, he's so embarrassed. I fucking love June's expressions.
No!
The sound of June's whines and protests, the other three collect their things, still snickering under their breaths before making their way out and back to their respective classes, leaving behind a very flustered tiger hiding his face between his arms. Man, I didn't think that would work so well.
You are so unfair.
How am I unfair?
Saying something that embarrassing out of nowhere in front of other people. Not to mention saying it in front of our friends that don't know about, you know.
Damn, I don't know. This might be a new expression. I don't know. Fair enough. Maybe I should chase after K-kun and Sai real quick and let them know that we're...
Don't you dare!
This is too easy. I almost feel bad doing it. What's that? Are you saying that you don't want our friends to know? My, aren't you a very secretive tiger?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that... not like this. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's not that we can't tell them.
I'm glad he's so distracted with trying to explain himself that he doesn't bother to call me out on my bluff. I'm hiding inside the biggest glass house here, and he doesn't realize he could easily disarm me if he bothered to throw even a small pebble. Lucky me. There, it's okay. We don't need to tell anyone since you're so against it.
Stop messing with me.
Sorry, I can't. It's too fun. June groans, cradling his head in an exceedingly adorable gesture of frustration. One that makes me want to keep going, to tease him more. I pat the cute annoyed tiger on the back, doing my best to hold back the laughter that wants more than anything to come out. In my defense, this is your fault. I'm only human. What the fuck? If you give me a knife, of course, I'm going to twist it. If it makes you feel any better, it's really funny to see you all flustered like this.
How is that supposed to make me feel better?
I did say if.
Go sit over there. Get away from me.
Don't be like that. I get back to my seat, all the while chuckling softly while I watch the tiger sulk, his tail lashing behind him in the most adorable manner. Before I can think of anything else, however, our next teacher arrives, forcing me to abandon my plans to keep messing with June. Quite literally saved by the bell. A few more hours later, I collect my things, packing away my books, pencil, and others. Quick cursory look through my notes reveals a whole lot of doodles and random scribbles, and not much in the way of actual, well, notes. It's a bit sad, really, especially when I go back just a few pages and see all these beautiful, pristine notes from before my accident, all annotated, separated by topic with bullet points for each and basic commentary to the side. It's a thing of beauty, really. And yet, despite trying my best, I can't seem to concentrate when it comes to class. As soon as it starts, my mind goes someplace else, drifting a million miles away. And not through the most pleasant of places either.
Are you gonna be heading home now?
Yes. Not much else for me to do here, is there? At least, not anymore.
You look tense again, like you did this morning. You sure you're okay?
Didn't you say you wouldn't ask me that?
I said I wouldn't ask if you need help. Never made any promises about not checking up on you.
That's just semantics.
Maybe. But I'll take whatever foothold I can get. Victory by any cost.
This isn't a battle.
Everything is a battle if you treat it like one.
See you later, June. Drape my bag over my shoulders, grabbing my crutches and quickly attempting to get up and push past the tiger. June steps aside quite easily, though he looks at me with these searching eyes, scanning over my face as if he's expecting something. Is there something wrong?
Don't be like that. Don't get all stiff and wound up because I made a joke.
Not wound up.
Yes, you are. You're not letting your emotions out and dealing with them in a healthy manner, so your body is holding all this extra tension.
Are you a shrink now? Or are you shrink now, as it says?
No, but I have seen one regularly for over a year now, and he said those exact words to me in some way or another over the last, at least a few times. Plus, I have eyes, and I'm not stupid, no matter whether you believe me on that or not.
I don't think you're stupid. Gullible and naive, sure, but not stupid.
Have you tried looking for something to distract yourself with? Usually helped when the bad thoughts would come to mind.
Also, I want to point out that him seeing a quote-unquote shrink, that was the first mention of therapy in 33 days and 120 something episodes. Says I'm having bad thoughts, and wait, didn't you just criticize me for not letting my emotions out? Now you're telling me to get a distraction instead of doing that?
If I told you to let it all out and tell me how you're really feeling, bad, ugly thoughts and all, would you do it?
No.
Didn't think so. In which case, distractions. At least until you're ready to face whatever it is that's going on in your head.
It's so creepy getting psychoanalyzed like this. Makes me feel like he's in my head somehow. That's a terrifying thought. Reminds me of when I was a little kid and I would think absurd, ridiculous things in an effort to sniff out any mind readers around me. I still do that on occasion, which is a very random thing to be remembering right now. I've been trying to distract myself for the past few days, and it hasn't been working all that well. As soon as I'm alone, no matter how hard I try, I keep thinking about things I'd rather not think about.
So we don't let you be alone. Pretty easy solution.
What's that supposed to mean?
That I'm gonna keep you company? How'd you not get that?
Didn't you say you had plans to practice today?
Right, because I've never practiced or played the piano in general while you were around. It's unheard of.
Don't give me sass.
I still haven't forgotten you embarrassing me earlier today. I'll give you as much sass as I want, and you're gonna take all of it.
Wow, okay. I did not expect to hear that from June of all people. Talk about forceful. Is it bad that I kind of like it when he's feisty? So, what, you expect me to walk all the way to the music room?
You did make us go to the roof yesterday, all the while insisting you didn't need help. You'll live.
You could try to be more considerate.
If we're considerate, you get mad. If I'm not considerate, you complain that I'm not being considerate enough. There's no winning with you, is there?
Guess you have a point.
If it makes it easier on you, you can lean on me for the walk there.
Hell no, I'm not an invalid.
You're doing it again!
Couldn't not do it. The comedic timing was too perfect.